and Kirk Morrison.
Already feels like home, Kirk. It already feels like home here at SoFi Stadium. Just two games into the season with fans, but I'm starting to get the lay of the land. I'm starting to know where the people are trickling in. This is pretty good. I'm pretty excited to be back at SoFi today. The Rams and the Bucs. Of course, we're going to get to see Tom Brady, and all the conversation leading up to this week. Obviously, is Tom Brady in Los Angeles for the first time, which is just mind-boggling. This person has been in the league seemingly since they built the league around Tom Brady, and yet this is his first game in Los Angeles. Tom Brady, I know he's been in New England. I know he's in Tampa. I know he's from Northern California. But it feels like he's got a little Hollywood vibe. That he's here in L.A. for the first time is kind of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think I read it earlier from Adam Schefter. It said that Tom Brady's played in 32 NFL cities.
Yeah.
Except for Los Angeles.
Amazing.
And to me, I think this is it's kind of the way the story should be written, right? Because Tom Brady on the big stage, it's the same thing when you come play the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
It's a different game. It's like similar to playing in Madison Square Garden. There's certain venues that when you play, you're going to get more eyeballs. You're going to get this is the big stage.
When you were playing for the Raiders, obviously you spent time in Buffalo, you spent time in Jacksonville as well. But where was the place like you walked into? You're like, wow, this is a little bit different.
Oh, MetLife.
Yeah.
Oh,
in New York.
You're playing against the Jets or the Giants. You knew that the entire league was watching. Now, maybe because the league office was also in New York, but as me and you stand here in front of SoFi, we now see the league office west over here, the NFL Network and NFL league offices here. So you're going to get more eyeballs here in Los Angeles. And now, just so happens, the best quarterback of all time will walk into SoFi for the first time. And I think everybody just wants to see what it looks like on the grand stage of Los Angeles.
All right, so the last time that the Bucs and the Rams played was last season, a game that the Rams won. Jared Goff threw the ball 51 times last year in that game. 51 passing attempts. Obviously, Jared Goff's not here. Matt Stafford is here. But seeing the way that they went and attacked Tampa Bay last year, knowing that today Darrell Henderson is unlikely to play, knowing that Sony Michel is a guy that is still relatively new to what the Rams are doing, you see the ball in the air a lot today?
You know what? I think it's just the way that the game is dictated. I think you go in with a plan, but you never go in saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Because, hey, this first scripted plays can go one way. It can go something totally different. And remember, you may have to throw that many times today. I know we're going to get the updates on guys who are active and inactive, but, you know, right now it leads to what people may say is that Darrell Henderson could be out for today. Now, if he's out, you're going to rely on Sony Michel, who's only been here for 2.5 cups of coffee. I don't even know if
looked pretty good in the second half after Henderson got hurt and they brought him in against the Colts. He was really effective on the ground. Now, when there were obvious passing downs, he was coming off the field, but he was pretty good on the ground.
Yeah, so that to me tells me what plays is he comfortable with? What plays is he not comfortable with? Those are the things that I want to know, because they may only call certain plays on first and second down when Sony Michel's in. What plays do they call on third down? How much more has he had to grasp this week in order to be on the field for all three downs? So we're going to see some Jake Funk. We'll see maybe get a third back in there. So to kind of answer your point, I think we may see Matthew Stafford have to put the game on his shoulder. And I was thinking about this on the drive over, too. That's why you brought him here.
Yep.
You know
for today,
I mean? You brought
playoff games,
you brought
for
Matthew
Super Bowl
Stafford
games.
here for these types of reasons. That, hey, you know what? Your best corner may be down. Your starting running back may be down. Your top wide receiver may be down. Hey,
win it anyway.
Go make us right.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
That's what it feels like. And I one last thought on the running game before we go to Matt Stafford is what's a good amount of time, Kirk? That obviously Sony Michel comes over towards the end of training camp, very late, and they've played a couple of games. Today will be the third game of the season, but to where you can feel comfortable giving him the whole playbook, where you can feel comfortable with pass pro, all of those things that, it's not just kicking that ball and running with it. You got to know all of these other things as well. Is it 4 games? Is it 8 games? What's a good number?
I would say probably half the season.
Yeah.
About 8 games, and I'll kind of throw this to his counterpart on the other sideline. Remember, Leonard Fournette was released by the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. He gets picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he didn't start right away. He didn't grasp the offense right away. But I tell you, that second half of the season, he really was a force that made that offense go for Tampa. And I think it'd be similar for what, obviously, I think Sony Michel will have to go through in this Rams offense.
All right, so DeMarco Farr each and every week gives us 3 things that we need to know heading into the game. DeMarco, what do you got for us today?
This is the Rams Countdown to Kickoff.
It's It's time for the D-List with Rams Super Bowl champion DeMarco Farr.
The champs are here. Here we go, week 3. Okay, number 1, bore the heck out of Tom Brady by completely disrespecting Tampa Bay's running backs Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. These are 2 first-round running backs. They're used to game plans, either tailor around their strengths and weaknesses. So feed that. Give them light boxes. Keep those safeties on the roof. Keep Tom Brady from throwing the football all over the yard. Make him hand it off to beat you. Eventually, look, he's the GOAT. I get it, but he's human. If he's bored, he will force the issue. He will throw into tighter windows. It will give you a chance to make plays on Gronk and such down the field. Number 2, offensively speaking, the Buccaneers' front 7 is physically more dominant than the Rams' offensive line. I think Tampa Bay would absolutely wipe the floor with the Rams in a 9-on-7 situation if this was practice. So look, throw them some red meat. Keep them converging on the football. Just because they're big and strong does not mean you should stop running the football up the gut. If you get them to converge, it will open up the edges on play action. Get the ball to Cooper Kupp, get it to Robert Woods in space, make them miss tackles, and away you go. Keep Matthew Stafford on the field for 10 to 12 to 13 play drives. Wear that defense out by the fourth quarter. It will pay dividends. And number 3, special teams. No miscues. You've got to bring it today. I think Tampa Bay is as good as any NFC team in the league, but the thing that puts them above everyone else is Tom Brady. So the last thing you want to do as a football team is go nose-to-nose with the Buccaneers and then help them out by special teams miscues. Can't have any errant punt, any errant snaps, any touchdowns allowed by the special teams. Be letter perfect. Punt the ball when you have to, return it when you have to, and no penalties. Put the offense on the field where they need to and help out the defense as well. All right, guys, that's all I got. Back to you.
Thanks, DeMarco. So one of the things that he just talked about right there is he wants to see Matthew Stafford have some long drives. He wants to see them keep Tom Brady off the field. Some of the things that you mentioned as well.
Correct.
You mentioned last week that, one of the things that you wanted to see coming into week 2 is can the Rams put together some multiple play drives, some 10 to 13 play drives like DeMarco just said.
Right.
I don't know how many 10 to 13 play drives they have, but what they have had is every single one of their touchdown drives has been for 70 yards or longer.
Right.
They have not had a short field touchdown all season long. Does that mean anything that they're able to move the ball those giant chunks of yardage and they're still scoring a bunch of points? It's not like they're getting the ball on the 30 and the 40-yard line on the other side and getting a bunch of easy ones. They've had to earn them all.
Yeah, they had to earn them all, and they've done it differently, right? They've had the big chunk play like you mentioned, but then they also had the drive. I thought last week that drive at the end of the game where they had to close it out with Sony Michel, that was probably one of their better drives of the season because it was about handing the ball off and running the football. Now, they kicked a field goal to end up winning the game, but I thought that was a drive that they needed to just show themselves that we don't always need the big play. We can also grind it out. And I thought that was huge for them because they're going to continue to keep pressing the ball down the field. They really haven't, to quote Sean McVay, haven't activated Deshaun Jackson enough in this offense. And I talked to Cooper Kupp this week, and he's like, I didn't know he was a big play threat. I said, when did you become the deep threat? And he was like, well, the coverages that they're getting dictates him right now being open. So now when teams are going to try to take away Cooper Kupp, we may see more opportunities for Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson, and now, like I mentioned earlier, Deshaun Jackson. So what we've seen the first couple weeks, we may not even see today as Tampa may have a different game plan to take Kupp out of the game.
You've said this a million times, and it's until you get 4 weeks of film, you don't have a real good idea of what it is a team does. You can only go off of a very short sample. So the Rams have 2 samples. Those 2 samples have Cooper Kupp putting up a bunch of yards, scoring a bunch of touchdowns, and like you said, being their big play threat.
Right.
If you're Tampa, do you come into the game thinking, I need to do something with Cooper Kupp, or are you still doing what you do, and then you're going to take whatever the offense is showing you?
Yeah, I think you want to take Cooper Kupp away first, and maybe that's a double team. Putting a corner and a safety over the top, trying to be really physical. But the one thing that Sean McVay does is that he never puts the guys in the same situation or the same spot on the field. He switches up his formations. He switches up the personnel. A guy may be at the top of a bunch. Now he's at the outside of the bunch. So when you have a kind of the versatility that the scheme for the Rams presents, it could be tough for what I think Tampa may try to do. But the halftime adjustments, we haven't had a chance to see a ton of those because the Rams have kind of been up a little bit, right? They've been up in every game. So we'll see what the adjustments have. This may be one of those games where the Rams may have a little adversity. They had it last week, but they passed with flying colors. It was Matthew Stafford doing what we expected Matthew Stafford to do. But I think today's game is going to be a little bit tighter. We may have to see more of them have to go pull some tricks out of that bag.
You know, you mentioned that adversity, and right. I think that's a great point because Slee was going to hate that I'm bringing this up. I'm doing it anyway. He's not here. I want to talk about Jared Goff for a second.
Correct.
I want to talk about what we saw on Monday Night Football where he looked amazing in the first half. He threw a couple of balls, Kirk, that are as good as you're going to see.
Always.
They were A+, 10 out of 10 throws, and then he dropped a snap and lost it. And then he fumbled again. He did get it back. And then there was an interception. It was all the other stuff, right?
Correct.
And you talk about that adversity. When the Rams had that moment last week against Indianapolis where they had the special team snafu, they give up an easy touchdown, they fall behind at one point. There wasn't that, okay, which quarterback are we going to get? With Matt Stafford, it felt like, all right, just get the ball back. He's going to go down and get points. It was a totally different feeling. Now, not that Jared Goff had never done that as well, but it was just, oh, okay, we're not going to hold the ball too long. We're not going to take a bad fumble. Maybe there's an interception. That's part of the NFL. But there's no feeling of, ugh. It was a totally different vibe getting ready to go on that drive.
You know, I get lucky to watch some of the film during the week of what the Rams offense can do. And when you rewatch the games, Travis, it is fun to watch as Matthew Stafford goes through his progressions and he takes what the defense gives him. It's unbelievable how he can process information so fast. For us, we just see him throw the football, but there's a checklist that he goes through at the line of scrimmage. Then as when the ball snaps, what he does post-snap, that's why he's here.
Right.
That's what Sean McVay is excited about because a defense can show a look, but when that ball is snapped, they can do something totally different. But he's already a step ahead, and that's the reason why I think that chemistry with him and Cooper Kupp, he doesn't necessarily throw to a player. He throws to an area. If you notice that. He throws to open grass, and next thing you know, there are some hands coming out of nowhere to go grab it.
So those hands, are we going to see more of those hands being Deshaun Jackson? You mentioned him a second ago. Just a small handful of plays a week ago in Indianapolis. We saw him catch a couple of balls in the first game, none in the second game. What sort of Deshaun Jackson situation are we seeing today?
Well, I think you want to get him involved early, but if you're Sean McVay, not forcing it. So you may just want to get him a couple of screen throws. You know what I mean? Just get him active in this because he's going to be a big part. In a season like this, we're seeing a lot of injuries. You know, guys are getting banged up. And now, look, with this 3-week IR rule, which I thought was one of the greatest rules that came out of 2020, guys are going to rest for 3 or 4 games and be able to come back. The Rams haven't faced that adversity yet on the injury bug, maybe Darrell Henderson today. But for the most part, they're going to need every guy on that roster, especially at wide receiver, because of the way this offense needs those guys to be versatile and play a ton of snaps.
All right, coming up next, we're going to give you the top 3 games to look out for today. We might give you more than 3, Kirk. We may get into 5 or 6 along the way. It's all coming up next on the Rams Countdown to Kickoff on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays. Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN. Don't miss the Coors Light postgame show live.
Join us Sunday night at HBC for a Rams postgame party.
Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
We'll see you Sunday night at the Rays Lounge inside Hollywood Park Casino.
Yeah. Hey, it's Travis and Sliwa. Monday morning, we're all over the Rams game right here on 710 ESPN.
Yeah, we will be, but that's not important. What is important, the best segment in LA radio, it's Ask Slee. You got one for us, Rampage?
What do you got there? Whose house?
Whose house? Rams' house.
Travis and Sliwa, weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the home of Rams football and LA sports talk all day long. 710 ESPN.
Join Team Rams United Way and thousands of Angelinos on Saturday, November 6th at SoFi Stadium for Walk United LA, a 5K family walk and run to end poverty in LA County. Go to therams.com/walkunited to register today.
LA's mega sports station has even more live and local. local. Hit it!
LA Sports Talk.
Start your day with LA's #1 sports morning show, Keyshawn in the Morning. Now with Max Kellerman.
Hit it! Yes, I opened the door for Max to join this show on 710 ESPN.
Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max goes until 10 a.m.
You're satisfied. Travis and Sliwa are talking Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Travis and Sliwa gets an extra hour.
Now with more live and local LA sports talk every single day.
Then it's Mason and Ireland 1 to 4 p.m. And Sedano and Cap have your afternoon drive until 7.
It's George Sedano. It's Scott Kaplan. Hit it!
The new fall lineup with even more LA sports talk.
Even more LA sports talk.
710 ESPN.
LA Rams, 710 ESPN.
Here's Travis Rogers and Kirk Morrison.
Kirk, do not forget that 710 ESPN is the only station giving you a chance to win $1 million. Listen
what?
all day tomorrow. It is our $1 Million Mondays tomorrow. Just for playing the game, here's what you can win. You can win tickets to next week's Rams-Cardinals game right here at SoFi Stadium. And if you are selected, you get to pick your Super Bowl matchup, your Super Bowl score, and if you get it right, $1 million along the way. So $1 Million Mondays, that's all day tomorrow. Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, Sedano and Cap, we got you covered across the board on all of that. All right, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the ESPN LA Rams radio network.
KSPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles. We are the voice of LA.
All right, right now it's time for our top 3 games of the day, presented by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times. Let's start with the other team here in L.A., which is actually in Kansas City right now. They have a 14-10 lead on the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a 14-0 lead. Kansas City is moving the ball again. This game feels like it's going to go to the end. Kansas City gave them a couple of opportunities early with some touchdowns, and the Chargers right now are trying to hold on.
Yeah, they're trying to hold on, but the first drive in the second half, Chiefs come down, score a touchdown, and they got the ball right now driving again. And, you can't keep this Chiefs offense down for too long. Now, and a lot of the things that happened in the first half were kind of self-inflicted wounds by the Chiefs. They hurt themselves. A couple of turnovers early on, especially in the red zone, and the Chargers were able to capitalize on it. But right now, we know this is an AFC West matchup, Chiefs-Chargers. Right now, look, Chiefs, are we kind of scared that they were going to lose this football game, especially the way they played on Monday night versus the Ravens?
Sunday night, knowing the way that they played on Sunday night, and they were pretty sloppy at the end of the game. They let the game get away with a fumble that kind of gets punched out at the end. There was a couple of things that didn't look real Chiefs-like along the way.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to come out and look fantastic today, and it does feel like even when they were down 14-0 in this game, you're like, hold on a second.
It got a little loose.
They're going to get this squared away. They're still an incredibly dangerous team because they got that quarterback.
Yeah, they got 15, all right? And Patrick Mahomes is one of the best for a reason. And he can turn a deficit into a lead that quick. And that's why I think when you have that belief, there's certain quarterbacks that give you that. You mentioned it. The Rams have that same kind of feeling. There was not a point where last week some things happened in that game against the Colts where there was no panic. Everybody's like, hey, we'll be fine, and they go right down and score. That's the way they feel with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it feels more like we made a mistake. Let's go back. It's not going to happen again, as opposed to, there's the same mistake that I've seen for 9 weeks in a row, 2 seasons in a row. It has a little bit of a different feel along the way. Let's move on to the next game here. You got New Orleans. They're on the road taking on the Patriots. They're up 21-3. Is this just going to be the Jameis Winston experience this season, that you're going to get one game that looks like he's the greatest thing in the world and then another one that's a clunker, and then back to the good Jameis again?
No, I think you had a bad game by Jameis last week. And actually, we have to realize that that team that they played on last Sunday is actually a really good football team in the Carolina Panthers. They play some number 1 defense in the NFL right now, Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jameis Winston went up against. And then we're watching them this week. You're like, was that Jameis, or was it more of what the Carolina Panthers defense is? Now, look, he did have a couple of YOLO plays, right? He was just throwing it up.
He did it this morning again, yeah.
Like, come on, Jameis. But I think you're going to get the ups and downs for Jameis this year, but I think you're going to have more good than bad because you've got a quarterback coach, or I should say head coach and mentor in Sean Payton, that's quick to go grab Jameis and say, come here. We're not doing that.
No.
We're not doing it. Yeah. And then also, too, when you take him out and put Taysom Hill in some of those critical moments, especially inside the red zone, short yardage, it takes some of those plays for Jameis Winston out where he can put himself in harm's way.
Hard not to look forward a little bit to what's coming up next weekend. Obviously, Tom Brady is here against the Rams today. It's a conference matchup. It's an opportunity to be 3-0. It's an opportunity to win a tiebreaker game that may come down to whether you're the first seed or whether or not you get a home game in the play. There's just a whole bunch of things that can be attached to today's game. He's also going back to New England next week to take on Bill Belichick. And I know that he's Tom Brady and he's focused and he's a pro and all those things, but you would have to think at some point he's been looking at this one for quite some time thinking, when do I go get back to play against that guy? Because, well, I need to show him a few things.
Yeah, it's going to be 4. Wait. Not only do you want to show him some things a little bit, but I think for the most part, it just comes down to who's just better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're better, you're better. That's what it is.
I can't wait. Because it feels like this thing has kind of turned a little bit over the last season. And I get it that Bill Belichick has some pieces that he did not have, namely the quarterback. But it's like, why did we let him walk out the door? Why did we decide not to find a way to make this work?
I did see a quote from Julian Edelman this morning, and he says it's like you're walking into two parents who've divorced and you're going to a family gathering. And it's like, whose side are you on? Are you on Tom Brady's side or are you on the Patriots side?
Everybody picks a side, right?
You got to pick a side. So I thought that was pretty funny because it is. I think probably one of the most watched games that we've seen on Sunday night.
And no question. All right, let's move on to the next one here. This one a little bit of a surprise. You and I were talking a little bit during the break. The Bengals up pretty big on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, 24-7, about 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Bengals, who knows how many games they're going to win,
right?
But they don't feel like a bad football team anymore. They feel like a team that you have to go out and beat, and it does feel, despite the fact that they won that opening game in Buffalo, Kirk, where they go and the Steelers like, hey, the Steelers, and there's still a long way to go, but this Steeler team does not look good early.
No, and I think right now they're just a brand that you expect to be good,
right?
And they're really not that good. I mean, I don't want people in LA to hate me, but USC is not a good football team. They're a brand name, USC, but they're just not.
Just because Oregon State came into the Coliseum and kicked them around last night.
Come on, man, that was
Oregon
bad.
State, Oregon State, Kirk.
Yeah. And you can say the Bengals are like the Oregon State of the NFL at time. It's sort of at the bottom, and all of a sudden you can start to see that teams and the parity across the NFL, college football, is very much the same. So I like where this Bengals team is going right now. They're playing well, but the Steelers...
You like Joe Burrow a lot too, don't you?
I really do.
Yeah.
And I've been a big fan of his. And last year, honestly, if he doesn't get hurt, he actually beats out Justin Herbert.
You think so?
He had that kind of year going. And then when he got hurt, Justin Herbert sort of took off, and he kept. Joe Burrow didn't win no game. I mean, not Joe Burrow, but Justin Herbert didn't win no games last year. He put up a lot of stats, no games. Same thing today. You got to start winning, Justin Herbert. I get it. You can put up all the numbers. You got to win games for me, brother.
At some point, it's the only thing that matters. We can put up a bunch of stats. We can look real good, throw a pretty ball, and look, he's 3 games into his second season in the league, so there's a little runway. But at some point, it's did you win or not did you look good or not.
Absolutely.
And so far, that part, they haven't checked that box. All right, let's move to the next one. This one, of course, has implications for the Rams as well. Jacksonville at home, a 9-point lead on the Arizona Cardinals. Jacksonville had a kick 6 early. You had Arizona lining up for a long field goal. It didn't get out of the back of the end zone, back line of the end zone, all the way to the house for a touchdown.
Yeah, man, I'm hopefully trying to set up next week a 3-0 battle, right? Because Arizona's coming to town to take on the Rams, and you may have a team that has a loss already with Arizona losing to Jacksonville early on. I mean, it's a big game because Urban Meyer, a lot of talk about him and his team and sort of the turmoil that's going on in Jacksonville and possible coaching exits and things like that.
3 games into his career is the conversation. It's insane.
But this is how Jacksonville is going to win games like they are today. They're not going to go out and just have this offensive explosion. They're going to kick 6 you. They're going to pick 6 you. They're going to fumble return. They're going to hit a couple of big plays here and there. But they're not a team right now, I think, that can just line up and consistently execute play after play after play.
You see a score like this, and again, there's 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. There's still a lot of time, so who knows how this thing ends. But you see a score with Jacksonville, who is not a good football team, Arizona, who is a good football team at this point, and you say, this is the NFL. All of these games are hard. I don't care who you're going up against. I don't care how many games they may or may not have won. on that Sunday, they can beat you. The gap between the worst team in the league and the best, this is not Ohio State against San Jose State, where the talent gap is really huge.
Hey, San Jose State won the conference last year. Go ahead, I got you.
Yeah, you know what I'm getting at.
I'm teasing. Yeah,
right?
I got you.
San Diego State, does that make you feel
Alabama
better?
versus Vanderbilt.
Oh, my goodness. Georgia versus Vanderbilt yesterday, 62-0. You don't have talent gaps like that.
Correct.
You have talent gaps that are the difference between Alabama and Georgia.
Yes.
Every team is kind of one of those two teams, and this is a good example of it.
Yeah, the quote this week from Urban Meyer, from Vic Fangio, head coach of the Denver Broncos, said he talked to Urban Meyer, and he said the NFL is like playing Alabama every week.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it truly is. You're talking about 5-star recruits all across there is literally not a lot of weakness, and it's really about what team just goes out and execute and takes care of the football, which is easier said than done.
All right, let's go to the Sunday night game. Green Bay on the road in San Francisco, another 2-0 NFC team, this one in the NFC West as well. San Francisco's looked pretty good through their first 2 weeks. Green Bay, mixed bag. They looked terrible, and they looked a lot better, but with the caveat, it was the Detroit Lions on the other side.
Correct, yeah. This is going to be a fun one tonight. The last time we saw Green Bay go up to San Francisco. Actually, the last 2 times, they've been blown out.
Bumped.
They've been blown out. We're talking about the conference championship, and in that Sunday night game that they had, they played bad. And I want to see what Aaron Rodgers has. Has he put behind what this offseason has really been about? We know this is going to be his last season, I believe, in Green Bay. This is going to be a big opportunity to see if Green Bay is for real, or are they still going to be worried about what happened this offseason. And for the 49ers, for them, with each win, what does it do? It keeps the Trey Lance comments, the Trey Lance rumors, it keeps it all quiet.
Yep.
When you start losing, then everybody's clamoring for put in a new guy. We got the game up right here, man. Justin Fields is running for his life today, right now.
And
he's running for his life for the Chicago Bears.
We've talked about it before, too. Once they go in, that's it. You're not coming back, and you're not doing that all over again. And you look at San Francisco, you look at the Rams, you look at Arizona, you look at Seattle, and it really is, I get it, it's only the 3rd week of the season, but these games matter a great deal. These are conference games. Green Bay, again, this is another one of these things that can swing it one way or the other. And I wonder what it'll feel like coming out of tonight's game. If San Francisco wins, I think they can say, look, we've won 3 really impressive games. Also, you look at Green Bay, it could be, wait, are they actually not a good team? Because if they come out of the gate 1-2, and I guess it depends a little bit about how Aaron Rodgers looks, but I think this is going to swing this one way or the other.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about maybe supremacy in the NFC. And if Green Bay loses, I'm looking at their division. I mean, honestly,
they're still going to win the division.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Chicago Bears. They're going to be struggling right now. I'm looking at the Minnesota Vikings, who haven't won a game. They can't find a kicker. We already saw what happened with the Detroit Lions. So regardless of, are we talking about the hierarchy of the NFC for the Packers, or are we talking about them getting to the playoffs, which I think they're going to be almost a guarantee to win that division.
All right, so coming up next, Kirk, I want to talk about some of the guys that are not here for Tampa today and what that means for the Rams and some of the opportunities that it might present for them. That's coming up next. It is the Rams Countdown to Kickoff on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN. Don't miss the Coors Light postgame show live.
Join us Sunday night at HBC for a Rams postgame party.
Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
We'll see you Sunday night at the Rays Lounge inside Hollywood Park Casino.
Yeah. Hey, it's Travis and Sliwa. Monday morning, we're all over the Rams game right here on 710 ESPN.
Yeah, we will be, but that's not important. What is important, the best segment in LA radio, it's Ask Slee. You got one for us, Rampage?
What do you got there?
Whose house? Whose house? Rams' house.
Travis and Sliwa, weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the home of Rams football and LA sports talk all day long. 710 ESPN.
Join Team Rams United Way and thousands of Angelinos on Saturday, November 6th at SoFi Stadium for Walk United LA, a 5K family walk and run to end poverty in LA County. Go to therams.com/walkunited to register today.
LA's mega sports station has even more live and local. Hit it!
LA Sports Talk.
Start your day with LA's #1 sports morning show, Keyshawn in the Morning. Now with Max Kellerman.
Hit it! Yes, I opened the door for Max to join this show on 710 ESPN.
Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max goes until 10 a.m.
Travis and Sliwa are talking Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Travis and Sliwa gets an extra hour.
Now with more live and local LA sports talk every single day.
Then it's Mason and Ireland 1 to 4 p.m. And Sedano and Cap have your afternoon drive until 7.
It's George Sedano. It's Scott Kaplan. Hit it!
The new fall lineup with even more LA sports talk.
Even more LA sports talk.
710 ESPN.
New guys at some new places, and yet he's still putting this thing together, and he's doing it easy too. It's not like he struggled a bit. We saw the interception last week, and I said, well, he ended up getting hit, right? You know, he got hit.
I'm not convinced that ball didn't hit something coming out of his hand.
It wasn't a bad interception. It was like, what are you thinking on that one? You saw what he was seeing, and the safety comes out of nowhere and makes a play. You'll give that, but he's had way more great plays, good plays, and he always seems to be a step ahead of the defense. That's what I've been really impressed with. I said he had that uniform on, and he looks like he belongs, like before. Very similar like Tom Brady. I never would have saw him in a different uniform, but the Buccaneers uniform, for some reason, it works.
You know what helps? And this is the most obvious and stupid thing in the world, but it's also really true. You know what helps?
What's that?
Winning.
If
you go out there and you win, everything looks good. You could be wearing Bozo the Clown shoes, and if you're going out there and you throw 9 touchdowns through the first 2 weeks of the season, or if you're Matthew Stafford and you come in and you've thrown 5 touchdowns, you've only thrown a couple of picks or 1 pick along the way in the offense, of course it looks right.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't look right when you're winning.
Because, honestly, when you're losing, everybody's going to make, they'll have something against you. But when you're winning, it's hard to critique. That's what I keep talking about with the whole Trey Lance thing, with the San Francisco 49ers. When you're losing, no one cares. When you're losing, everybody cares about the backup quarterback. When you're winning, we're not talking about him.
No.
And that's the reason why last year nobody cared about Jordan Love, right? But once the Packers this year lost the first game, Jordan Love this. That's not the case, man. You just got to keep winning.
So if that's what we like about the Rams offense so far this season, what have you seen through the first 2 games? You said, okay, we need to tighten that up. We need to clean that up a little bit.
Well, I want to see some consistency in the run game. They haven't done enough, and I think Sean McVay did give us – he didn't give us an excuse. He gave us a reason. And the reason was we just don't have enough plays.
Mm-hmm.
We're not playing enough plays because it's a credit to
literally play counts. They don't have enough snaps.
Right. We don't have enough plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's only so much, right? You got kids' allowance. They're like, oh, I want more. Dad, can I have more? Like, no, this is what the allowance. This is what we have right now. So I'm giving you what we have now. Now, when we continue to get more, you can give more a little bit. But right now, we just don't have what you're expecting. That's the same plays for the Rams. They don't have enough plays that you can give 10 touches here, 10 touches here. They don't have that in that run game, and that's what I think that he wants to get to, is get back to what they've been doing, was handing the ball off.
It feels like one of those good problems to have, because you're able to move the ball in chunks down the field, and something that they really weren't able to do the last year or two, that they don't have enough snap. Though, we're talking 85 or 80-yard drives, 75-yard drives, but it's not 75 yards in 14 plays. It's 75 yards in 4 plays.
Right.
That's what they've been doing so far this season.
Yeah, and they've made the big plays, which to me is demoralizes the defense. But then they've had a couple of drives where you say, okay, that's impressive. And they continue, to me, like they only hit like 2 or 3 drives per half.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm looking at other teams and they're getting 8 drives per half. You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? But again, I think that the Rams have been very efficient with what they do. When they get the ball, things happen. Like last week when they had 2 back-to-back 3-and-outs, we were kind of, wait, that didn't look right.
Yeah.
And they figured it out, and in that fourth quarter, they really got some things going.
All right, let's talk a little more offense with one of the members of the broadcast team, Maurice Jones-Drew.
This is the Rams Countdown to Kickoff. It's time for the offensive breakdown with MJD.
The Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I am so excited about this matchup. You talk about Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, 7 Super Bowl rings, probably the most efficient offensive player to ever play the game, with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, no Antonio Brown this week because of COVID protocols, which is fine. You still have Rob Gronkowski, who's looking young. I mean, this is going to be a tough task for this Rams defense to cover everyone. Leonard Fournette is announced as starting running back. He's a downhill runner, but it's not about the running game in this situation. It is about the passing game and what Tom can do. And can Aaron Donald affect Tom Brady? Can they continue to put pressure on the quarterback? I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I can't wait to find out. Now let's go to the Rams side, where you have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and that connection, how great it's looked for the last couple of weeks, going against a great defensive front. Vita Vea has been getting a ton of pressure. No JPP for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I love what I'm seeing from the Los Angeles Rams. It seems like Darrell Henderson's a game-time decision, maybe not playing this week, so we'll see how that goes. But I tell you what, Matthew Stafford, with the way he's looked in this offense, the way he's played in this offense, the way Robert Woods has looked, the way that Tyler Higbee has looked, everyone has looked well. The one guy that I can't wait to see, and I think he gets unleashed today in a ton of empty formations, is Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson is going to be the key in this game. His speed to be able to take the top off of this defense is going to be huge for the Rams. Matthew Stafford's going to need to connect on some deep passes down the field in order for the Rams to win. And that is the offensive breakdown for the Los Angeles Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Back to Kurt and Travis.
All right, thanks, Mo. So you heard him mention it right there that the Bucs are not going to have Jason Pierre-Paul today. What sort of opportunities does that present for the Rams?
Well, it presents that you don't have a guy who is just a certified pass rusher. I mean, that's what Jason Pierre-Paul, that's why he's still in the league, because he still gets after the passer. So now you really don't have to worry about Shaq Barrett. Now you're not afraid of the one-on-ones with the other guys, but when you do have a Shaq Barrett, you may have some more attention to him. You may have – it's going to help out a guy like Sonny Michel today, Jake Funk, because now when you're scanning, okay, are they going to bring an extra linebacker now? Levante David, more of a coverage linebacker, but Devin White, he's one of the best blitzing linebackers in the NFL. They're going to find a way to bring pressure. Now, do they do it to the linebackers? Do they bring some safety extra looks? They're going to have to supplement that rush with someone else, because Jason Pierre-Paul is such a huge factor of what they like to do defensively.
You know, you talk about that pressure, and this is one of those weird quirks of just the schedule, the way that it's worked out over the years and years, that the Rams and Tom Brady have not played against each other a ton. We did see it last year. We did see it in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. But this is not a matchup that you see every season or every couple of seasons. Aaron Donald has never sacked Tom Brady. Today, could we see that first one? Talking about getting pressure on the quarterback is Aaron Donald, because the only time Tom Brady does not look like Tom Brady is when he's under duress. If he has time, he's going to do work.
Yeah, but remember, Tom Brady likes to get the ball off quickly, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why Aaron Donald can't get to him. Aaron Donald's got to have a great rush. He's got to have a 1-2 and get there, because Tom Brady the one thing I could say that Tom Brady throughout his career that's really affected him is when you kind of muddy up the pocket. You don't allow him to step up
around
his throws.
feet sometimes too.
Yeah, we always say let's make it trashy for him. Let's throw some trash on the floor. Make him step around it. Make him move around. He doesn't like that. He wants a clean pocket. He likes to stand in the pocket. And then now when you look at right now when Aaron Donald is getting off the rock, Tom Brady knows I need to get the ball off quickly. He gets the ball off in like 1.3 seconds.
Look, if that ball's coming out in a second and a half, not much you can do. You're not going to get down the field a ton, but if that ball's coming out in a second and a half, I don't care if you have 5 Aaron Donalds up front. You're not getting there in a second and a half.
Yeah, it's coming out hot. But and also too, I think with Aaron Donald, he realizes that he will have his opportunities, and those opportunities come in 3rd and long. So that means they got to do a great job on 1st and 2nd down, stopping the run. That has to be the calling card for the Rams today. Stop the run and force Tom Brady to have to hold that ball for an extra beat.
You mentioned those calling cards that the Rams had, and for a long time, one of the ones at the top of the deck for them, that they were just as good as anybody, was their special teams. What's happened? This special teams unit has not been good through the first 2 games of the season. We've seen a blown punt where a snap went off one of the up guys. We've seen a couple of kickoff coverages that have resulted in 50-yard plus returns along the way.
Yeah.
And Matt Gay has made his kick, so that's good news. Even Johnny Hekker hasn't looked like himself most of the season.
Yeah, but I want to go back to Matt Gay. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal this year, and so at least that's what's working with the special teams unit. I think, again, the Rams special teams are going to be a work in progress this year because a lot of guys who played there last year are now your starters or your key contributors on defense and offense now. They really don't have the depth at special teams like they once had before. Remember, they had special teams stalwarts.
Corey Littleton, guys like that.
Those guys aren't here anymore. And so you're kind of piecing it together with guys who aren't necessarily special teams true guys. And you got some starters, and it's little things too. When I watched the film, I was like, oh man, he's just got to stay outside. He got a little too nosy, and all of a sudden the guy beats him to the outside. They got to fix a lot of it is easy fixes. You'd rather have them now in the weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4 than this happened in week 17, 18 when you're trying to win a division title.
Yeah, well, you look at it too, and I never even thought about it like you just said. This is an opportunity for when all of a sudden you have your special teams guys that are now your regular guys. The depth there is gone. It's hard not to have a high level effective, or I should say a team that can cover those things when you got guys that are as green as some of these Rams players are.
Well, you think a lot of the rookies last year, that's what their role was on special teams. Those guys aren't here anymore. Those guys are gone. And the reason why they're gone is because they've been elevated to now being starters on this team. So they don't have that same depth special teams-wise, but a lot of it, look, just kick it out of the back of the end zone, Matt Gay. You make your kicks, and then Johnny Hekker, you just keep doing your job. Do your job. That's it.
It feels, Kirk, watching the kickoff more and more teams kicking out of the back of the end zone or trying to drop it at about the 4 or the 5 yard line and force you to bring it back along the way. We're going to get to a point before too long where there just are no kickoffs in the NFL.
I don't think so. I think that the opening kickoff is such a staple of the NFL. I don't see them doing that anytime soon, and you still have that possibility of the big play. That's why I think they're going to keep it in the NFL.
All right, coming up next, we're going to take you inside the numbers with the voice of the Rams, JB Long, where he will do what he does, the 3 N's, the name, the note, and the nugget to look for coming up. It is the Rams hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a pair of 2-0 teams, right here from SoFi Stadium on the Rams Countdown to Kickoff on 710 ESPN.
710 ESPN is giving you a chance to win $1 million.
$1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
Listen every Monday during football season to Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap. All you have to do is make a super prediction.
And you can win $1 million.
And you can score tickets to a game at SoFi for just playing on $1 Million Mondays.
$1 Million Mondays.
710 ESPN. Don't miss the Coors Light postgame show live.
Join us Sunday night at HBC for a Rams postgame party.
Hollywood Park Casino. Elevate your game.
We'll see you Sunday night at the Rays Lounge inside Hollywood Park Casino.
Yeah. Hey, it's Travis and Sliwa. Monday morning, we're all over the Rams game right here on 710 ESPN.
Yeah, we will be, but that's not important. What is important, the best segment in LA radio, it's Ask Slee. You got one for us, Rampage?
What do you got there?
Whose house? Whose house? Rams' house.
Travis and Sliwa, weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the home of Rams football and LA sports talk all day long. 710 ESPN.
Join Team Rams United Way and thousands of Angelinos on Saturday, November 6th at SoFi Stadium for Walk United LA, a 5K family walk and run to end poverty in LA County. Go to therams.com/walkunited to register today.
LA's mega sports station has even more live and local. Hit it!
LA Sports Talk.
Start your day with LA's #1 sports morning show, Keyshawn in the Morning. Now with Max Kellerman.
Hit it! Yes, I opened the door for Max to join this show on 710 ESPN.
Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max goes until 10 a.m.
You're satisfied. Travis and Sliwa are talking Lakers, Dodgers, and Rams from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Travis and Sliwa gets an extra hour. Now with more live and local LA sports talk every single day.
Then it's Mason and Ireland 1 to 4 p.m. And Sedano and Cap have your afternoon drive until 7.
It's George Sedano. It's Scott Kaplan. Hit it!
The new fall lineup with even more LA sports talk.
Even more LA sports talk.
710 ESPN.